distinct pleasure of being the superintendent of Mineola Public Schools. Mineola Proud doesn't do it. It doesn't capture the pride I feel and the community feels when kids can come up and do things like this. And when they can talk about their own experiences and learning, I can't think of anything else that gives us greater satisfaction as educators. So this opens up our Q&A. I invited Vincent Durante, who's one of our middle school teachers, who will be joining our panel. We not only have rock star kids, we have rock star teachers. We get them to those points. We're also joined by our middle school principal, Andrew Casal, and our assistant principal, Amy Children. How could I miss Kelly? Where is Kelly? Oh, there you go. All the way in the back, Kelly Clifford. Wave to us again, Kelly. So we have people, we have 2 microphones set up on either side. If any of you have any burning questions you'd like to ask our kids or one of the adults, please go up to the microphone. Don't be shy. You don't want to volunteer anyone, especially if you're sitting next to the microphone. All right, we have our first speaker.
Good morning. First of all, congratulations. You guys were amazing. But as a leadership part of this, how do you ensure the continuity of those learning experiences moving forward and keep the staff engaged and the student engaged to make this a K-12 experience for your students?
That's a great question. So everything that they described in the middle school occurs in all 5 of our buildings. To varying degrees and age appropriate, but we spend a lot of time and energy in professional development for our teachers. Our teachers really design and implement most of the work. We give them some big ideas and then we give them support to accomplish it. One of the interesting things is something that Emma said about her younger sister. In 1st grade, she also has a middle one in 4th grade. So there's a good possibility that the 1st, the 4th, and the 7th grader are all doing the same thing in coding. That's how quickly kids are moving through our curriculum. And one of our biggest challenges is to be nimble enough to adapt to the work that their readiness to do. So it's a fairly unique problem, but we had, last year we had children in all 3 of those grades, maybe it was 2nd grade, doing the same work. So they're coming and they're coming fast.
Yeah, I was going to add that. I'm right here. I was going to add that.
Oh, Joe wants to speak. Surprise.
I was going to add that I am 1 year older than them, and they're doing a lot of different work, a lot higher work that I couldn't even do in their 7th grade year that I did in my 7th grade year. So I just think that's a lot. Just the impact from our grade to all the way back down to the 1st grade. It's a huge difference. So.
Most of the projects that you saw were grade level projects. So Shark Tank, and there were projects that heat loss houses, using infrared technology in order to assess. There was a picture there. We actually didn't talk about it, but they encompass the whole grade level. So as the kids learn different aspects, they travel through the grades, and all of the students are gaining similar experiences. These guys, they run with it, so this is the top of our class. And congratulations, by the way, phenomenal.
Yeah, you can breathe there.
I can breathe.
Yes.
So I'd like to offer you a challenge for the kids, and I'd like to hear your response. You all were talking about how you know what you know and how you know what you don't know. Now there's a 3rd area which may be bigger, which is what you don't know that you don't know. So I'd like to hear you talk about how do you prepare for what you don't know that you don't know. And it's an easy question.
See, the beauty is it doesn't even throw.
Well, we have many different websites and activities that we have, like our Kid Oyo platform and the learning pathways. So since it's so personalized, and apps like Lightsail that have the what's the test called? The diagnosis test that personalizes your learning. So because what we learn is so personalized to what we know and what we don't know, and our teachers can see what we're working on and what we are good at now and what we need to work on, they can give us feedback so that we can improve on what we don't know. So the way we improve on don't know what we don't know is that we have many different resources that we use constantly that give us feedback that will help us improve ourselves.
Let me tweak that question a little bit. So,
I'm really impressed.
yeah, it really speaks to what Luke said before about content, and you'll forget the content an hour after you learn it. So can you speak to a little bit about skills or competencies that you guys are learning through all this work that you think will help you when you graduate?
So things like design thinking, computational thinking, and personalized learning, which are 3 focal points of our school, they have many smaller aspects to them that helps us build on many new skills, like communicating, collaborating, thinking. So all of these things will help us solve problems in the future with coding, building stuff, and whatever it may be, wherever you may be put in the future, we have to have perseverance, persistence, especially because all those times we failed, 37 in robotics, I guess. So all those times we failed, we learned something new. So we get many different skills during our processes. So really, the 3 focal points that we've been talking about have many smaller aspects, more specific aspects, that will help us more in the future, which is the whole point of this.
And it's not a secret. From the adult perspective, we're not talking in the back room about teaching grit and perseverance. They know exactly what they're doing because those are skills we want them to know. Catherine wasn't joking about her shy little self in 6th grade. But she challenged the TED Talk and she challenged an election and had put her on this stage today. That's a huge difference from the Catherine I knew 18 months ago. Right?
Congratulations, and you are representing your schools very well. Can you talk more about what you're looking forward to in high school? Each one of you, maybe where you would like to take the skills you're learning now into high school.
I've been in high school often, so I know a lot about the different, they give us a paper about all the different classes that they have, and there's a lot of interesting classes that they have, they're just making new ones too, so I feel like comes from a different aspect from there. There are a lot of robotics, coding. I'm more performer, I like to perform, I'm an actor, so I come from a different aspect of that, so there's a lot of classes, new classes they're having is a improv acting class in the high school, so there's plenty of little classes that they're making up on this coming just now that they're really improving, a lot of coding classes they have there. They have a lot of something that interests me a lot in high school is a business class that they have, economics and business, so there's a lot of things in high school that I think I'll be very looking forward to in the high school, so even though I'm already there.
Just a side note, our 8th grade is in high school, so middle school is 5, 6, 7.
Which is really good. It's really good for.
Jordan, you gonna make any more apps? What do you think?
So we, as I noted before, some students aren't really into that field with the computer science and everything, but starting from such a young age to build on these skills, on the computational literacy skill set that you acquire at such a young age, by the time you're ready to enter the workforce or even enter high school, you're going to be so far ahead that you'll have the ability to open up new doors for yourself, to give yourself new opportunities that just working the bare minimum, you never be able to push yourself to where we all aspire to be.
Yeah, Jordan is a CS kid, if you want to give him quotes, but he also was a lead in the play last year, so he's branching out. Emma, what do you think?
Well, all of our schools are really a technology embedded school, and I've loved coding ever since that I've started at such a young age. So I'm really excited that it gets to stay with me, and that I'm going to be able to have it all throughout high school instead of just dropping it in middle school and moving on to something else. I'm really excited that I've had coding every year that I've been in Mineola, that I'm excited to still have it in high school.
I forgot to tell you guys that I expect all of you to take AP and computer principles in ninth grade. Next thing on my list. Yes?
First of all, I just want to tell all the students on the stage that you are awesome. You are absolutely inspiring, so thank you. I actually have a question for the adults on the stage. So often, schools and districts might have pockets of innovation. You know, a classroom here, a classroom there, maybe even a school that's doing innovative work on the whole. But a lot of districts find it very difficult to scale that kind of innovation. And it's very obvious to me that you have managed to kind of develop a culture, that innovative mindset throughout your entire district. How do you make that happen?
On a teacher perspective, it's been an evolution. It didn't happen overnight. To be honest, under Dr. Nagler's leadership and direction and insight, this started a decade ago. And in order to build upon his successes, he came up with a vision, and through the building level administrators and the teachers, we formed collaborative teams to be able to make his vision come alive and really impact the kids, as you saw on the stage. But it's been an evolution over 10 years, so we've been built upon, and what doesn't work gets tossed, and what does work gets expanded, and the resources go to it. It's remarkable that, you know, we started off, you know, just as a one grade had a one-to-one initiative, and now the whole district's a one-to-one initiative. So it took some time, it took some dedication, but as an educator, we're pretty much free to create environments inside of our classrooms that were examples on the screen.
I think I would add to that is trying to break it down into what school in its simplest form should be. And I believe it's two things. Children should have fun learning, and children should get work that's appropriate for them. And if you can accomplish those two things, no matter how you do it, everything else will take care of itself. And your emphasis should not be on, you know, summative exams or trying to keep up with the Joneses. It's about your community and what's special to your community. And be very honest and upfront about that. And we take a lot of pride in children knowing that. They joke all the time with me that they have to know what they don't know. It sounds ridiculous, but that's the tenet of everything we do. You cannot grow in something unless you know what your weakness is. It's also a tenet of growth mindset and deliberate practice. So, you know, they articulated so well the concepts that we profess, that it's a joy to me when the plan all comes together.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. Can you guys talk a little bit more about what reading looks like in your school? I'm going to guess that it involves more than working on the Lightsail app. So what does that look like?
Yeah, the element, we have 2 pre-K to 2 buildings, and then all those children funnel into 3, 4, and are together. So the pre-K to 2 buildings are much different with the use of technology. It's more on the side. We teach traditional reading, we do all of the
I'm sorry, I meant reading and literature. You know, how do
reading
you-
literature, yeah.
You know,
So,
class novels or you do book clubs, how does that work?
did you start book clubs?
Yeah.
Why don't you talk a little bit about the book club? It's a new initiative you just started.
In 7th grade, while reading a book, we do certain questions that we have, and at the end of, and certain due points for each chapters, while working with the group, and we decide on how much we want to read and take it into our own perspective instead of the teachers assigning us our books. We get to choose what we want to read and how much we want to read at a time. And at the end, with every due date, there is an overarching question about the actual book. But along with that, we also did do a lot of light sale, and it works a lot because it's to your level. So you don't have to read books that are so much higher or so much lower than your actual lexile.
So with the book clubs too, there's like different roles you can have each time. So like when you have your meeting, which will be most likely 2 times a week or so, you'll meet with your book club, and then you'll work on it like the day before or 2 days before or whatever, and you'll do like to pick a different role. We have like a format with a bunch of different jobs that you can pick. You could ask questions, you could answer questions, you could like draw a picture about what you feel best, what you think is the main point of those couple chapters that you read. And we have like different student choices that we've created, which really makes what could once be just reading a book and writing an essay about it, makes it much more engaging.
So we progressed to the secondary level. We're instituting book clubs around the theme. So there's a lot of choice in what they read, and we're moving away from whole class novels.
Do they do any whole class novels at all, or just depends on the class?
Yeah, they still, what novel are you reading? We're all reading.
Last year, I know we did a lot of whole class novels. We read some sci-fi, we kind of branched out. And
High school, it's more high school than it is.
Thank
So we're going to take one more question, and then I want to remind you that the whole group, including the teachers, will be out and along with our other group of students, and they're out in, we have an area set up for them, and they're absolutely going to be able to interact with you. So Dr. Lynn will take one more question.
So quickly, kudos for modeling for us the type of active learning that you like, helping us experience it. That was brilliant. But a question for you. So you probably have friends, brothers, sisters, or cousins that go to a different school or learn in a very different way than you're learning right now. I'm curious to hear from you what kind of advantage you feel that's giving you. More importantly, because in the audience you have people that are in lead positions across the U.S. that can create the conditions for all students to have this type of experience. So I'd love for you to hear your thoughts on what kind of advantage you feel that gives you, and what advice you kind of give to this crowd of making that reality for more students.
So my older sister is 28 years old, and she did not go to Mineola. She, when I got to lead in the play last year, she told me she had a lead in the play last year too. And I'm like, oh, that's so cool. And then I realized, and when I come home sometimes I tell her about all the fun stuff, like the new stuff we did at school today. And she like nods along, but she can't relate to any of this stuff. This is brand new stuff that we're putting out there, and obviously coming home excited to tell your parents, like when your parents ask, oh, what'd you do at school? We're not going to say, oh, nothing, because that's not true. We have engaging assets in our everyday learning, and we love to do those kinds of stuff, and that's what makes it real for us.
Okay, so one big thing that we have that we've been talking about a lot is student choice. And because we can pick what we want to learn, we're more likely to like what we learn. And I'm sure, like Jordan was saying, all the things we're doing, most of us are going to say we like doing it. Do you know why you can trust every single one of us that says we love what we're doing? Because we're the students. So, you know, we're going to...
You don't lie.
I do not lie. That's a lie.
You know what, that's a perfect ending. Let's have one more. One of the things I do know, and everyone in this room knows it too, that none of this happens without great support of parents, and some of them are in the room, and so let's please give a round of applause. I spent a lot of my career working with leadership, because unless leaders actually invest in this kind of learning, they appropriate funding to make it happen, they do schedules, professional learning for teachers, they are the ones that do this. And I wanted to say that Superintendent of the Year for New York for 2020 right here. So that is not a surprise. What a great way to, am I right? What a great way to start our morning. I mean, it really does. I had a couple tears missing there a little bit, thinking about, what school is like. I've said this way too many, and I didn't put a picture up, so you should congratulate me, but I have a new granddaughter. She's 10 months old, my first one, and she is adorable. But I've been doing this work of education and what school's going to be about for a long time now. And when I look at her at 10 months, there's an urgency in my heart now for what school will offer to her, and I hope that it's what these kids are getting to experience and even more. And it is up to all of us in this room to make sure this is what all students have the opportunity to do, to personalize their learning, to be excited every day when they go to school. That's what matters. And so I'm so happy that you're all here today to learn more together about it. We have a little bit of a break, a little recess. If you've been around for a while, we hardly ever get that in CETA. But at 10:30, we have some amazing breakout sessions that will be happening. They're in your schedule. If you need